Hello all, Jamie Calloway here. I'm going to show you my reaction to the Mystery Man on 1-2-12. And I was also talking to two other people, so if you hear one person from my phone and one person from my iPod, that's why I was FaceTiming with my best friend Tori Lowe's Monroe-C and my good friend Razmansreality. So that's why if you hear the reactions, that's them. So anyway, my birthday is in January 8th is my birthday. So don't forget, mark it on your calendar. So follow me on Twitter and like me on my Facebook fan page. Oh my God! Oh my God, I miss him so much! I am not the one screaming right now, that is Raz. Oh my God, I miss him so much! Oh, I miss him so much! Don't you miss him? Didn't you miss him? Hello all. Alright, so I'm here with Razmansreality. Would you like to say anything?
Hey everybody.
And we're going to talk about the whole thing on Raw when Jericho returned, and I think I should let Raz start off because he's the biggest Jericho mark in the entire world, so go ahead, Raz.
Indeed I am. I think I'm the only person in the YWC that did a Jericho pose in my video. Which is great. But yeah, I called it from day one, promo one. I mean, I've done a lot of videos with you too, so people that watch your videos know that I always said it was Jericho. So I was really, really happy it was him. And I really liked the way they did the whole earthquake style camera shake thing, like the world was actually ending, like it was gonna implode. I thought that was really cool. And his jacket looked awesome when the arena was like completely dark and he was all blue, like with the Michael Jackson jacket. That was cool.
That was actually really cool. And Jericho has abs now. Not that the boys really care about that, but he's actually in shape. Last time we saw him, he didn't have abs, but not that matters, but...
Well, it could also be that the last time we saw him, he was in a suit, too. Suits tend to cover that up.
Well, that's true, but...
But, yeah, like everybody else, I'm just wondering why he didn't speak, but as said in my video yesterday, well, I had to put an annotation in because I didn't think about it until after I had made the video, but maybe Y2J, that character coming back was like a trick. Maybe Jericho was making fun of the fans and he's actually going to come out as his heel self next week. I mean, that's the only explanation that makes sense.
It wouldn't make any sense for him to come back as a face, and I adore him as a heel. I mean, I adore him in general, but I want him to stay heel.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing was what I originally said in my video, and I've heard some other people say, is that maybe the crowd was just so into him that he just decided that it'd be better to just let the crowd cheer.
Who knows?
And then cut a promo next week. But yeah, that aspect of it was really confusing, and then, of course, everybody's still trying to figure out who she was, and it begins, but I've always said that she doesn't necessarily have to represent a physical person. Guys have this personality trait where they call their favorite objects she. So I think that she could represent the WWE Championship.
And you know what people were also saying? Like, they thought that someone else was going to come out. They said he was stalling, and they maybe thought that, and I kind of thought that Taker would come out too, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. But people said that he would stall, and then, or he would cut a promo, and Taker would come out and interrupt him. And I'm just like, either way, that'd still be awesome because you and I would get what we wanted, and everyone else would get what they wanted. And
Yeah. Well, I guess it would have been kind of cool to see a second person, but it would have been exactly copying what they did with the 22111 promos. I mean, they did that a year ago where they had 2 people involved in a return promo instead of 1. So I can kind of see why they didn't do it either. But yeah, I'm just so excited that Jericho's back. And like I said in my video, I still firmly believe that he is going to feud with CM Punk. But the question is, are they going to let the crowd choose between the two? Because like I said in my video, and I'm not just trying to pimp out, like, go check out my video, I'm just trying to reiterate some stuff. I think the much more interesting thing to do is to leave Jericho kind of a tweener, because the Y2J character, even though it was more of a face, as opposed to like the suit character, that character could still be a tweener, and I think it would be much more interesting if they let the crowd choose between Chris Jericho and CM Punk. Like, let the crowd decide who they want to side with in the feud, and not just have a cut and dry face in Punk and heel in Jericho.
Yeah.
I think the feud would be more interesting.
And it makes it all the more interesting because now we can't wait to see what's going to happen next week, cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly. By him not talking, that's exactly what I was going to say too. By him not talking, now everybody is going to tune in next week to wonder, well, what is he going to say? Why didn't he say anything last week? Is he going to explain why he didn't say anything last week?
Well, you know what other people were saying too, and it would be much better than seeing Triple H versus Taker for the millionth time. They were saying, like, what if it was Jericho versus Taker at Mania 28? I'm just I don't care as long as it's not Triple H. I don't want to see Triple H.
And that would be a great match between those two, because they really have never feuded. They had one match in 2009 on November 13th, and you're thinking, wow, you must really be a Jericho mark if you can remember the exact date. Well, it was kind of hard to forget because it was on my birthday, the date that it aired on television. My birthday is November 13th. So, yeah, that SmackDown was the only time they really fought, so that would be a really good match. The only problem with it is that it wouldn't make sense for It Begins, because in It Begins, Jericho was talking about the end of the world as you know it, and CM Punk is the one been running around saying, I'm the best in the world. And Jericho always said, I'm the best in the world at what I do. So, it wouldn't make sense for the style of promos they did, but it would be interesting and be fun.
And it would kind of make sense because the promo is kind of scary, but I know what you mean. But, the last match with Cena and Kane in the match, I thought maybe Taker was going to come out during that match because Kane was in it. And
yeah, I thought Taker was going to come out too. You and I were talking, as I think you said in the beginning of the video, and then we played a little bit of the live.
I was like, what if at the end of the match, the lights go out, and, only Cena's the only one left, and the Brothers of Destruction are standing there in the middle of the ring, and Cena looks like he's going to shit his pants when he sees
It would have made sense if he was there and they were going to use him. It would have made sense because earlier on in the night, Kane said something to the effect of, you're going to know the meaning of true hate by the end of the night. And so it could have been like a setup for Undertaker hates Cena too, where the Brothers of Destruction are united against Cena. Like, it would have made sense.
That would have been awesome. My uncle and my daddy go kill Cena.
Oh yeah, your daddy.
My daddy, the Undertaker, and my uncle Kane.
You gotta do a video about that soon. Like, how many people have been saying, "Are you related to Taker?" It's really fun.
I am. Well, I have a nice family. Michelle McCool, my mother. Undertaker's my dad, and my uncle's Kane. My uncle likes to wear a mask and murder people. Isn't that nice? I have a nice family.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. But yeah, Raw was really interesting. The only thing I don't like, since we're talking about Cena and Kane a little bit, I hate the way Kane is talking. I think it ruins his monster character. I think he just needs to sit there and just kick butt and not say a word.
And you want to know what else I want to point out is everyone thought that, well, I don't want to say everyone, but most people thought that Jericho was going to come out during the Punk match, and he didn't. And then after that, all of a sudden it was a Divas match, and I was like, what the hell? No one wants to see this. And then Jericho returned. And also about Taker, January 2nd didn't necessarily have to be for him. He could have just returned that day, too. It could have just been for Jericho. And he showed up in the...
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it could still be more than one person. It just was spread out over a couple of weeks. But we've said it before, and it's worth mentioning again, because you just mentioned it in a roundabout way. Taker doesn't need a big promo to make a comeback. He would get a much better reaction if no one knew he was coming and the lights just went out and either he appeared in the ring as Deadman, or what I want to see is he showed up on the bike as Big Evil. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
That would be awesome if he returned as American Badass or whatever gimmick. I honestly love Deadman and Badass, so whenever he would return, that would be awesome. But for Taker to return, I want to be surprised. I want to, like, fall out of my seat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that what I was saying, sorry, we had kind of a spike in the recording. I wasn't trying to jump on Jamie, but what I was saying was that is the other thing to think about, is that Taker kind of is due for... Sorry, I'm getting all tongue-tied over my words here. Taker is kind of due for a revamp, a new character twist, because there's really nothing left for him to do as Deadman. Whereas if he brought back the Badass Big Evil gimmick, there's still some more that he could do with that. And he could cut promos.
And it would be really interesting, too, to see that again.
Yeah, exactly. Because he can cut promos, which is something he can't do very much as Deadman.
Nah, so he kind of talks about he's going to rip your head off and you're going to rest in peace. But Undertaker can just, like, show up in the ring anytime, anywhere, and he'll get cheered. You know, he's at that point in his career now. Obviously, he's a legend, but he's at the point in his career now that he'll get cheered no matter what. Because he's Taker. You know, it's like Rock. Rock could, like, sit there or even his name be mentioned, and they'll get a huge reaction.
Yeah, I totally agree, and yeah, I'm just really glad that Jericho's back, and
me too.
And I'm, thank you for having me as always.
Awesome. And the one thing I want to say before we end this video is the two people that I miss the most is Jericho and Taker. I still miss Taker to death because he hasn't returned yet, but I'm so glad Jericho is back. I missed him to death too. Obviously you do because you're the Mark.
Well, yeah, I am.
You're the Jericho Mark. Can you imagine if they faced at Mania? We'd be at war.
We would, yeah. That would be like the only time of year we couldn't talk to each other, which is like the worst time of year to not talk to each other is during WrestleMania. So, yeah.
Right, so check us on Facebook, and all links are in the description. Look at his radio show. Anything else?
No, you covered it. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. See ya.